Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're gonna make another project, but this time we are putting bag making to the side for a second and focusing back on some home decor. It's been a while, so I figured it was time to do a nice little home decor project. Today we are working on leather seat covers for a stool. I've had these stools so long that they don't even sell the seat covers for these. So if I wanted to switch things up, I would have to make them myself or pay somebody to do it, which that's not happening. If you are one of those people that love to switch things up before the new seasons approach, then this project is for you. Granted, you might not have this exact same stool. You might not have a stool at all. But if you do have a piece of furniture that has covering on it that looks seemingly easy to remove, or it might even be detachable, then this is a technique that you can use for that. So what we're gonna do is take some basic measurements of the seat cover that's already on there and transfer that to some leather. So yeah, let's get started. So in order to get proper measurements for my leather seat covering, what I did was removed the old seat covering from my chair. Whether it be fabric or leather, you would use this same technique. Once I remove the seat covering, I will turn it inside out just so that I can see where all the seams are lined up and how much seam allowance is included. Now, I come from a fashion design world, so a lot of you might not be hip to what seam allowances are, or even seams for that matter. So the seams are where two pieces are sewn together. That is your seam, and the seam allowance is the extra piece of fabric that is hanging off. So that is what I want to account for, because I will be sewing all of my pieces together, and I want to make sure that it's not too tight for my chair and that it actually has some allowance along the seams, just in case I need a little bit of extra fabric to work with. So right here, I'm just turning my seat cover inside out, and along these edges is where your seam allowance is. That is the extra fabric that I was mentioning after you have sewn two pieces together. From there, I'm just going to lay my cover down onto my leather and trace everything out. I already did a rough trace, so I'm just going back through to make sure everything is lined up properly and that I didn't miss any of the seam allowances that are included in this covering. When you have everything marked out, it's best to just label your pieces so that you know what piece attaches to what. Once everything is labeled and traced out, then you can move forward with cutting your leather out. Once you have all of your pieces cut out, all you'll need to do is match them up with your original covering and make sure that your newly cut leather is a little bit bigger than your original covering, because again, you want to include any extra seam allowance that might be needed so that after you cut, everything fits properly and it's not too tight. When it comes to working with leather, you never know, so you just want to be on the safe side. So for that reason, I'm going to start sewing the top portion of my covering first, and then I'll fit it to size the chair just to make sure everything is accurate, and if it's not, I'll make adjustments then before I complete the rest of the seat cover. So the front portion of my seat cover, this area lifts a little bit to go over the actual cushion, so it's going to be a little tricky in sewing because I have to make sure all of my seams match up and it still gives me the hump or the extra space that I need. So after I sewed all of the pieces together, pretty much all the pieces that I mimicked from the original cover, after I sewed everything together, I noticed that actually I sewed the bottom portion together and I fitted that to the chair, but then I started to notice that, of course, there's the sides of the chair that need to be accommodated for. Now, when you're working with fabric, it's a little different because that fabric can stretch over to fit the chair. But when it comes to leather, there is no stretching. So I just went ahead and added some sides to just fit over this portion of the leather since I can't stretch anything out. And then I sewed all of that together. So this seat cover matches this exactly. So now all I have to do is add my Velcro. If you can see, I need to add some Velcro to the bottom portions of my leather, and then we should be able to fit it onto my chair. So this is how the Velcro looks once I applied it to all of the corners. I just laid it down with some double-sided tape, and then I'm gonna stitch everything down with the sewing machine to make sure that it's in place. After I finished sewing on my Velcro, I then went to each corner of the bottom portion of the cover and did a top stitch. Top stitching to me just gives it another level of quality, and it gives it a nice finish look. I don't care if it's made at home. You want it to look like you bought it. And that completes our leather seat covering. Again, you might not have this exact stool, but if you have any piece of furniture that has leather or fabric that can be replaced and it looks like it's detachable, this is a great technique to use. You might have to make some tweaks and adjustments, but that is completely fine, and it's normally the case when you're working with leather from scratch. But I would say this is a really quick, inexpensive DIY home decor project that anybody can do. I would highly recommend this waxy pull-up leather from Weaver. It is perfect, very, very supple and soft, and great for home decor. This is literally one of my go-to leathers at Weaver, so give this a try. Also, if you have some leather at home that might be laying around, go ahead and upcycle that leather and turn it into a home decor project. As always, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will catch you on the next one. Peace.